episode is brought to you by Save Cultural Heritage Group, a little television series called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. That was on National Geographic, and we ended up getting nominated for an Emmy, which was absolutely wild. Unexplained and Unexplored, and that, I believe, was on the Discovery Science Channel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Weekend Talk, the show that brings professionals in cultural heritage directly to you. As always, this episode is brought to you by Save Cultural Heritage Group. I am your host, Megan Kamoric, and I am an archaeologist and Egyptologist currently based in London. Hence why it's dark outside. I apologize, it's winter. Today, I am joined by an archaeologist who has combined their love for screen media to help create fun, engaging, and exciting research-based programming that brings the stories of the past directly to a 21st century audience. So, without further ado, hi, Annelise. Welcome to Weekend Talk.
Hi, happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So for you and for those who are watching, the show is broken up into 3 segments. The first segment is an introduction, followed by a brief Q&A. And the second segment is a nice entertainment thing that I made. It's a fun game. I hope everyone enjoys it. And then the third segment is just, we're gonna give you the floor. You can do a shout out, tell us where to find you, and tell us any projects that are coming up. So if that sounds good to you, let's go on to segment 1. So Annelise, tell us about you.
Oh boy, where to start? So I am both an archaeologist and a television producer. I do both. My background and all my degrees are in archaeology. And then once I was sort of let loose into the world after I finished my master's degree, I ended up falling into television production because I'm originally from Los Angeles and it was 2008 at the time. There weren't many other jobs, but TV was still going, movies were still going mostly. And I was able to sort of fall into that as a job because I had a background in history and was also good with computers, good with researching. So all of those skills that I built up as an undergrad and graduate student, researching and learning how to find information and learning how to distill information really came in handy. And I started at an entry-level position, which was doing research, and I've worked my way up from there.
That's incredible.
It's an interesting sort of middle space between both professions, and it lets me then fund my digs and my dig travel when that happens once a year.
That's absolutely extraordinary. I don't think people sometimes realize that just because it's an archaeology degree, there's just so much more you can do with it, and you get to apply it to so many more aspects that you can enjoy. What projects have you worked on that you've loved the most?
I think the biggest and best project was working on a little television series called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. That was on National Geographic, and we ended up getting nominated for an Emmy, which was absolutely wild. And so I got to go to the Emmys, the Creative Arts Emmys, not the Primetime Emmys with all the stars, but it was so cool. It was such a fun event. I got to wear a super cool sparkly dress, and we did not end up winning. We instead had the supreme honor of losing to Anthony Bourdain. So I have that I could. Exactly. I mean, I would have cheered just as loud if my own team had won. We were so happy, and truly it was an honor just to be nominated. So that was fun. And then I think the other notable projects that I've worked on are Expedition Unknown, which at the time was on the Travel Channel and is now on Discovery Channel. And then I worked on another smaller program called Unexplained and Unexplored. And that, I believe, was on the Discovery Science Channel.
That is so cool. That is a dream I think that a lot of people have, is just to be able to not only get on TV and be a part of those shows, but just share research like that to such a wider audience and be a part of it. If you had to create a show based on anything in your life, either your own research or just an interest, what do you think that show would look like?
I think it would involve me going around the world and spending time with my friends who are also archaeologists and just seeing what everybody's getting up to, because at this point I have such a wide network of friends and colleagues and peers, industry peers on both sides. And so many people work on so many cool projects. So I think it would be fun to actually go to their sites, go see what everybody's getting up to, and just showcase archaeology in all of its many different forms, all of its awesomeness, which doesn't necessarily end up on television because the perception of archaeology does tend to skew more Indiana Jones, and there's lots of adventure vehicles and off-roading and hiking places. And I mean, we do drive in Jeeps and Land Rovers to get to places often, but that's not all we do. We do a lot more than that.
That is so true. I mean, I remember a project I worked on and we were in the back of a truck, and in my head I was like, this should be really cool, but really I'm just sweaty and dirty, and I probably
Yes.
look like I'm part of the objects that we just like unearthed.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. How would you say that the stuff that you've worked on is usually like for TV, it's big productions. How does that differ from things like social media, TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube when it comes to having to convey the ancient past to the public?
I think TV just lets you do it in a slightly longer form. With things like social media, you really need to scale what you're doing down to a truly bite-sized form. So it needs to be quick, it needs to be concise, it needs to be clear. And the other big difference is television has a lot of people and a lot of moving parts, where social media is often just one person doing everything.
So what does it look like then when you're on a TV set and you're having to come up with not only how you're going to convey what you're showing, but also maybe how you're going to shoot it, how the people you're going to want to talk to? What is the general process that you have been a part of?
Well, the general process is actually not that exotic. It is a bunch of people with laptops sitting in a room together. And that's how TV shows get made. That's how ideas get formulated. That's how schedules get created. That's how flights get booked. The making of process is really not that exciting. In fact, it's pretty boring. And that's why I don't have a lot of pictures of me at work, because it's literally just me sitting in front of a laptop. But more often than not, there will also be other people with their laptops sitting nearby. And so it's a big collaborative process. And there are lots of people, there's a whole hierarchy of individuals. It's kind of just like a very, very big group project with crazy deadlines.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about every academic experience I think a lot of viewers could probably relate to. Is as much as you want to enjoy your degree or what you do, a lot of it is in front of the computer. And I think that's why most of us are wearing glasses or contacts right now.
Yep, with the blue light filter.
Oh, of course, 100%. You can't not have that. What advice would you give to somebody wanting to get into the production of archaeological finds and sites?
I would recommend, for someone who's trying to make the jump maybe from an academic career path, maybe you've got a couple of degrees in something archaeology or history related, and you're looking at something like TV production, my advice would be start with research, because the research is going to be the backbone of whatever you're doing. And to also be prepared to branch out, because not all of the shows that I've worked on are history centric. In fact, that's actually kind of a minority, because those shows are so few and far between, and they're so big and they take so much planning and advanced work to make them happen that it usually takes a while for them to get going. So instead, I've had to fill in the gaps with lots of other things and lots of other genres. But the good news is essentially the research skills that we learn from academia translate really well into television. So you can be very good at finding things, finding information, dates, people, all of that stuff. That is a key skill. And again, that's the backbone of pretty much any production, especially something that's in the documentary style field.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you said it is, if you know how to find things academically, you can find things anywhere, basically. And I think that's always a good skill just to have in life in general, which leads perfectly into my final question. Outside of what you do professionally, what does your life look like on a day-to-day?
Well, now that I'm working from home, it's pretty uneventful. I work from home now, so that's sort of been the biggest change. Before, I was commuting to and from production offices and stuff like that, so I would have a designated office to go to during the day and then come home at night. But now that everything's here, I try to wake up at a decent time every day, work out, because that's the one key thing that helps keep me sane. Like I really enjoy my workouts, and then just find other things to switch gears, because that's also important, because television production is incredibly demanding. It will take up all of your time and thoughts and energy. So it's really important to have something else that you can do, whether that's playing video games, like in my case, or reading, or doing some sort of art hobby. It's always important to have something else that you can do just to fully switch gears and give your brain that time to sort of, decompress.
I think, even though that was my last question, I know the audience is going to want to know, what is your favorite video game then, since you're an avid video gamer? Like myself, I must add, I have an Apple of Eden from Assassin's Creed just in the background glowing.
Yeah, just casually glowing in the background.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, my big game for many, many years has been World of Warcraft. That's sort of been my constant for too long now. I'm not going to put a date on it because it's too many years. Too many years. But I'm also really enjoying Animal Crossing. I got into that last year during the lockdown, just because they dropped that game at just the right time. We happen to have a Switch, and I was like, you know what? I actually need a break from the World of Warcraft. It's a little hectic right now. What I need is something gentle. And along came Animal Crossing, and that has been a godsend. I've really been enjoying how cute that game is. And
Yes.
in both games, there's an opportunity to find some archaeology in there too, because in World of Warcraft, there is a little profession that you can learn, archaeology, and so that's a whole separate conversation right there. And then in Animal Crossing, the same thing. You can dig up little fossils and take them to the nice little owl who runs the museum, and then you can also collect art pieces. So that's a separate conversation about like art sales and antiquities theft and stuff like that, because the little fox art dealer comes to your island, and sometimes he brings you forgeries, and you're just like, how is this happening in a game for children? Why am I thinking about looting and illicit antiquities trade when I'm trying to relax and have a nice time?
All about the authenticity of that game. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
No, that is absolutely incredible. All those games, 100% must agree with you. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. And we will not talk about how many hours I have in any of those games.
Too many. I don't even look at the number when the thing opens up and it's like, total hours. It's like, nope, don't want to see it.
Nope. Save the game. How many hours? No, we don't do that.
I would rather not know. It's okay.
Exactly. Well, I think ending on video games is a great way to segment into our segment 2, which is entertainment. I have created a game for you, and I think you will really enjoy it. It is based on your TikTok series, Is It Cursed? I'm calling this, yes, it is based on that series, plus your love for cinema and just shows in general. So I've made a game called Cinematic Curses, where I will show you a clip from a movie that has an object in it, and you have to try to guess what real life allegedly cursed object the movie object is based off of.
Oh, this sounds fun.
Yeah, it will start easy and then we'll get harder. Bonus points if you do know what the curse is behind the real life object. But don't worry, because I have notes and I will educate anyone who is curious about these artifacts. So you ready?
Awesome. Ready.
Let's go. So we're going to send you picture 1. There we go.
Okay, I see it. Oh, I see Indiana Jones and a crystal skull.
Exactly. So this is Indiana Jones 4 and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This movie, obviously, you can see Indiana Jones is also very confused about this alien-shaped skull that he is holding, rightfully so. Do you know the real-life object that skull is based off of?
Yes, that is based off of one of many crystal skulls that were alleged to be mystical somewhere in South America, maybe Mexico too, and people believe that they have magical properties.
That was absolutely brilliant. Could not say it better myself. The only thing I'll add is I worked in Belize. So when I was working there, a lot of locals had a lot of things to say about it. None of it were good. Yeah. But basically there was the original, which is the Mitchell Hedges skull, which started it all. It was this whole story of Mitchell Hedges' stepdaughter, that is a phrase, was on site with him and apparently peered into a hole on top of a grass mound. And as the sun shined through this hole, she apparently saw this shimmering image of a crystal skull looking back at her.
Amazing.
I know, it sounds great, but there has never been any evidence of his daughter being on site. There's nothing in his notes. And recently, it actually was shown that he bought it from an auction house in London. And 2 months after purchasing it, he wrote a letter to his brother telling him exactly where he purchased it and that, yes, it is indeed not real.
Yeah. I think wasn't the deal that most of those crystal skulls were actually like milled in, was it Germany or Austria? It's like the crystal itself, the giant chunks of quartz crystal did come from somewhere like Brazil, just because that's where a big deposit was. But then the manufacturing actually took place in Europe.
Yes, exactly. So that's why it's so funny to hear people be like, oh yes, it's this. No, it's not aliens and it's not mythical. It is just a culture that you took advantage of, I guess, and bad.
Yeah,
naughty.
I mean, all the positive thing I can say is that, like, I don't know, it's impressive craftsmanship. Like, someone did a very good job carving a big chunk of quartz. And like, yeah, you did a good job with that. Because some of them look kind of janky, but others are like, you did a
Exactly.
good job. It's
Other ones, I'm like,
just,
yes, that's a good paperweight.
yeah, an attempt was made.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to go on to photo 2, and I will share that with you. Okay, another famous movie.
What could it be? What could it be? Oh, my inner
Yes,
12-year-old is
I
so happy right
know.
now.
The Titanic, 1997, stole all of our hearts. I don't
Oh,
own that necklace, but I own a replica from the Titanic. Like
love it.
yes, they found obviously jewelry at the Titanic site, and this would have
Mhm.
been part of the set. Unfortunately, they didn't find it, but they knew the set where it came from. So I was like, cool. But this object's obviously about the necklace, this infamous
Yes.
necklace. Do you know what real life necklace this is based off of?
I'm gonna say the Hope Diamond.
That is correct. So the Hope Diamond, I have like a little some fun facts about it, and I will share with you what it actually looks like. So let's share that with you first. Okay, so this one has an interesting story. Apparently, allegedly, it was stolen from a statue, and the person who stole it was subjected to a very unfortunate death. But I don't know what death that was, so I just like to think that the statue crushed him. That's what I like to
Exactly. The
say.
statue fell over.
Yes, it did kickstart what was known as tragedies. So you had Jacques Collet, who died of suicide, Princess de Lombelle, who was killed in the massacre of the French Revolution, and merchant Jean Verchereer, who was mauled by wild dogs. And that is just to name a few of who owns this. But apparently all the curses have stopped since 1958 when it was gifted to the Smithsonian. So at least you know now it's safe. You can go to the Smithsonian and see it and be okay.
It's safe there, and then we're safe from it.
Exactly. But there is a bonus round with this one. So
Ooh.
the necklace from the movie is based on a real life necklace, the Hope Diamond, but the love story in the movie is based on a different real life necklace. And I will show it to
Ooh.
you. Yeah. So this is the necklace.
Oh, I've seen that before. Oh gosh, what is that necklace? Oh my God, I can't remember the name of that necklace, but I've seen that before.
It's okay because I don't think they gave it. I think it's the love of the sea. I believe that is the name
Love of
for
the
it.
sea, heart of the ocean,
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly. So, yep, love of the sea. Basically, the story goes that there was a merchant named Henry Morley who owned some confectionery stores in the Midlands of England, who ended up leaving his wife and children for a young lady called Kate Florence Phillips, and ended up giving her this necklace as a gift. Now, they were both on the Titanic, and just like Jack, he did not make it. But like Rose, she did make it with the necklace, but she also had her purse, her keys to her trunk, and then later found out she was pregnant with his baby. And I went, wow, that sounds like a Spielberg movie right there.
That's the plot right there. It
Yeah,
literally wrote itself.
exactly. So I'm like, okay, I can see it. I understand now. 12-year-old youths like, oh yeah, get that.
It's like, this is the height of romance. It does not get any
Yes.
better.
Do you have a necklace? Have you drowned in the ocean? Check,
Yeah.
you're good. Okay, now we're going to get a little more difficult. Some people might not have seen this, but I'm assuming some people might have seen this movie. This is The Possession from 2012.
Oh. Oh, I know this one.
Yes, well, go ahead. It's the box. Tell us if you know about the box.
It's the Dybbuk box.
Yes.
Yes, and I would hope that perhaps others of my/our generation who have also spent a little bit too much time on the internet will know this from the creepypasta
Yes.
that kickstarted the fascination with the Dybbuk box. And yeah, it's a box. And I think the weirdest part of that entire story is that the actual Dybbuk box, full of curses and whatever else, is currently chilling in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Museum of Haunted and Cursed Items, owned and operated by Ghost Adventures Zach Bagans.
Exactly. And there it is in all of its glory.
There it is. Since I first learned about it from the internet, in my mind, this is simply an internet thing. And then maybe someone made it afterwards to like match with the internet story. But like, what an odd object. What an odd object in an interesting story.
And apparently a lot of scholars just say it is a wine box. And then obviously people who say that it is possessed by a demon would obviously be very scared about it. And I just said, well, if I was a demon, I would haunt a wine box too. So I'm not upset.
That's a great place to haunt. You've got wine right there.
What else could you want?
Do you need? Seriously, like this seems like a win-win situation to me. I don't see what everybody's complaining about.
Exactly. And I thought it was really funny because apparently in 2018, the singer Post Malone ended up visiting the box and touching it. And to this day, he still says he's having nightmares and extreme issues afterwards. So who knows?
Yes.
Maybe he just doesn't like wine.
I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe what was in the box isn't a fan of Post Malone. So he's just like, I can't deal with this right now. No idea. Or yeah, a little bit of both. Who even knows?
I love it. These are good theories. We're being very academic.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is a bit of a reach because it was loosely inspired on this object, but here's the movie. This one is Oculus.
Oh my God. This was a creepy movie.
Yes, it's Oculus 2013, and I don't know if you'll know the object, but you might. It's obviously the mirror. Yeah, that movie got to me, and I still sometimes watch it as a guilty pleasure when I really want to scare myself.
During October for spooky season movie marathons.
Exactly. So this real life mirror, and I'll show it to you. It's also probably not as equally ornate, but equally creepy. Here it is.
Oh, that is creepy. Mega creepy.
This is the world's only mobile museum of the unexplained, and it holds this mysterious reflector, which seems to literally take on a life of its own. The museum obtained it from original owner who purchased it while attending a psychic fair in the Columbus area. And then that same owner said that they were struck with very upsetting visions when gazing into the scrying mirror's dark reflection. According to the museum visitors, they also claim to have reported uncomfortable sightings, such as seeing their own corpses when reflecting into the glass.
That is aggressive.
I know. So now you can see why Oculus is as disturbing as it is. I know. And the fact that it's a mobile museum, they're just taking that mirror everywhere to be like, hello, just everyone look at it.
Why are you showing this to people? Like,
you get a curse, you get a curse. We all get curses. Okay, now we have a bonus round, which I'm only going to show you the movie poster, and I will ask you a question about it. I have faith. You've been doing really well so far. Okay, we have Poltergeist, 1982.
Yes.
Now, the question is, what alleged organic objects are famously considered to be behind the curse of the 1982 film, The Poltergeist?
Oh gosh, I should know this. I should really know this. And I think I knew it at one point and then I forgot because I had to make room for some more information, probably about the Bronze Age.
That's okay. It will click, I promise. So it hasn't been technically confirmed, though they have talked to a lot of people, and I'll explain it in here. But the curse of the film and why this has all come about is because there has been deaths of multiple cast members, which in total were, I think, about 4 of them, some while filming, some after the movie.
0 deaths.
Yes.
Your film.
And so it says the speculation surrounding why this movie was cursed comes from the continued debate surrounding if real life human remains were used in filming.
Ah,
Yes.
yes.
And here is a trigger warning for anybody who doesn't like real life human remains, possibly. I will show you. Yes, so that is the speculation. It says that the idea was not only claimed by actress Jo Beth Williams, who played Diane Freeling, but it was also said by special effects makeup artist Craig Weirdson, who swore under oath that the skeletons used were in fact real human remains. And this account was also allegedly confirmed by the film's assistant prop master, Bruce Kaysen, who stated that real human remains were used on set from, turn the page, ooh, suspense. It was, they were actually taken from the Carolina Biological, which is a place which sold human skeletons for medical school use back in the 80s. And apparently, according to some reports, it was cheaper, more realistic, and that's possibly where they got them from.
I mean, it checks out considering the way things operated at the time and the you know, the time that the movie was being made, because like obviously we've seen you know, prop skeletons and bones and stuff from a lot of those classic horror movies, and like they look really fake. They look really fake and really cheap, and you can tell that it's, you know, a plastic Halloween skull or something like that. So I would not put it past them, especially back then when it was a lot easier to get yeah, like whole human skeletons for, you know, your science classroom or random, I don't know, whatever you'd need a skeleton for.
As long as it's not a Halloween decoration, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting to read about the background of it. And some people were saying that they had to use real skeletons because where they were shooting, plastic was too fragile and it was going to erode. So they wanted to use bone instead. And I said, okay, I mean, that could check out, I guess. But I thought it was just, yeah, it's very interesting. And of course, this legend of the curse of the show and the movie and of the production is still going on today. But I think you did great with all that. That was incredible.
That was fun. Yeah, I'd like to say I came prepared, but apparently that's all just stuff that's in there, and that's why I don't know things like math.
I mean, yeah, you and me both. But I mean, it goes to show that your TikTok series is obviously appreciated by at least one person, and I encourage you to keep doing that, because I think everyone who's watching this right now probably had the best time hearing you talk about curses, and who doesn't like a good curse at the end of the day?
Exactly, even when it's out of season.
Exactly. Excellent. So I guess we'll go into segment 3 then. I am going to give you the floor. You can tell us where to find you on social media, any projects that you have coming up, and just anything else you want to share with us.
Okay, well, I spend a lot of time on the internet, so you can definitely find me in various places. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. My handle is literally just my name, Annelise Baer. And you can also find me on TikTok. And there I am, Annelise the archaeologist, all one word. And that's where I am. I am still surprised daily at the success of things like TikTok. But I'm so glad that people are enjoying the weird little videos that I make. I'm having a lot of fun making them, so I'm glad people are having a lot of fun watching them. And yeah, that's where I am on the internet. So yeah, we're hoping to plan a spring 2022 dig season. And hopefully, if all goes well and travel arrangements also go well, we will be back up in the mountains of Albania sometime around Easter 2022. And you can find out all the cool stuff that we're doing and actually follow along when we're up there digging on Instagram, and that is Nivitsa Archaeology. And I will also be sharing stuff from my own Instagram accounts, and then I will also be making TikToks while I'm up there. Again, if everything goes well, if the mountain Wi-Fi holds steady, this will all happen.
That's extraordinary. I'll obviously be looking out for you, but please, anyone who is watching, go give her a follow. She's absolutely incredible. And I think we all know that she is a master of cursed items. I think she gets a title now. We'll send her a certificate later.
Exactly. If something's cursed, I'll tell you.
Exactly. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you liked this video, please be sure to like it. If you wanted to share any future questions you have for archaeologists, please pop them in the description, below the description, in the comments. Other than that, if you want to see future videos like this one, we upload twice a month, then please be able to share this video with people, subscribe, and of course, we have fun here. Thanks again, Annelise, for joining us on Weekend Talk. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.